Yo, what is up to this tier list? If you are watching this on YouTube, I'm doing this live, so if you want to come hear me, come talk to me. Twitch will be in the description. But anyway, let's get straight into this. First, I kind of want to restructure this. E tier is a stupid tier. Ain't nothing goes in E. That's F because I moved it. E tier, let's just get that out of here. Um, and now it's tough. Now it's tough from here because do we keep? There's just so many tiers. I don't like it, but whatever. Ace, we're just gonna start off strong. I'm gonna go S tier. Very simple. Heart breaches are very important in on every single map. Ace is the second best heart breach in my opinion, so I'd put him S tier. Next we have Alibi, who has a very strong gun and a bailiff, so you can make rotates and stuff like that. I haven't played her in a long time. I believe they removed her impacts. I could be incorrect though. Obviously she has the clones. Overall, I'm gonna put her B tier. Her utility is just pretty strong. Well, really, her guns are very strong, but that's about it. Her ability's kind of mid. Next, we have Amaru, who is going to go D tier. The art of surprise is great, except when they can hear it from a mile away. And unless if you're super close, typically it's not going to work. Now, it does work every now and then, and is she super fun? Yes. If this was a fun tier, S tier, but it's not. So, yeah, Amaru's going to have to go D tier. She's just not that strong. Next, we have Aruni, who, in my opinion, is going to go S tier. I'm going to put her behind Ace, though. I feel like Aruni is just so versatile. She can create rotates. She's a long-range gun, a short-range gun. Her pistol doesn't really matter, but she has a deployable cam, and I believe barbed wire. Could be incorrect. But, yeah, so she has intel with the camera. She also has intel with her ability with the gates and stuff like that. When someone breaks them, obviously, you know they're towards that side, and they are resettable as well, and they can close off many different angles. And like I said, she has a long range gun and a short range gun, and both of them are really strong. So I'm gonna have to put her S tier. I feel like her whole utility and weapon set is just great. Next we have Ash, and I know my last tier list things were a little different with Ash just because I'm biased. I play Ash a lot, and I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, Ash main," but I don't. Not in ranked, I don't really play her that much, I guess I should say. So like standards and quick match, I'll just pick Ash because she's fast. But I just play a lot of her, so I kind of know what she's good at. This is so tough. This is so tough. At least for me, I'm torn between A tier or S tier. Now, obviously, she has one of the best guns in the game, but she also gets breach charges, which can be great for playing above. But her breaching runs in general, her ability can destroy so much utility, and it can play from below. I'm having a hard time putting her in A tier, but I think a lot of people would. I'm just gonna leave her S tier. I'm sorry, and we have a lot in S tier already, but maybe that's a good thing more than a bad thing. Azami is easily S tier. I think Azami's value has fallen a little bit, but I do think she's still very powerful. She has one of the best secondaries in the game, that being the Deagle, which is good for creating head holes and feet holes. And as well, she has arguably the best SMG in the game and a pretty good slug shotgun, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it's classified as a DMR. Her Cuba barriers are still great for creating one ways, what's it called, blocking off rotates, blocking off different angles and stuff like that. The only downside is they can be shot now. She still has her impacts though, but yeah, she's still an S tier operator. Next we have Bandit, who's also going to go S tier. I don't know why all the good ops are at the beginning. I'm sorry. I promise this list will shape out, but Bandit is going to go S tier just because he's an anti similar to hard breaches are very valuable no matter where you go. Personally, I prefer Bandit the most. I believe he's easier to trick with, and I believe his gun is better than Cade. Now, spoiler, they're both going to go S tier, but I do slightly prefer Bandit over Cade. All right, next we have Blackbeard. Blackbeard's going to go C tier. Honestly, they reworked him, and I think people thought, at least I thought, hey, Blackbeard may be usable now. That Elite I bought a long time ago, maybe it'll be usable. I somehow feel like he got worse. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like he got worse. They gave him a shield that just like comes down. The only reason he's going C tier and not gonna go D tier or F tier is because it's still a shield against lower level people. It's going to be hard to combat. His gun is dog shit, and I find it easy to counter shields, but some people don't. So he can be pretty useful in lower ranks, and I guess since we're talking about it now, I'm just gonna keep in mind I base it off every rank, whether you're champion or copper, just how valuable they are. Because someone like I don't want to spoil, but let's say like we're talking about Blackbeard. Blackbeard's gonna be great. If you're a copper, like actual copper, Blackbeard might be S tier. But of course if you're champion, Blackbeard's gonna be F tier. Like you get what I'm saying? So um but he's definitely worse the more you get, the more you go up. So I'd honestly say gold and up is easily handling Blackbeard. So bronze, silver, copper, Blackbeard's decent. That's why it's gonna go C tier. He might move down to D tier depending on who we get later, but yeah, he is not very good. All right, next we have Blitz. Blitz is probably gonna go D tier instead of C tier. The only reason I would maybe put Blitz on the same tier as Blackbeard is just because he can blind, but then again he has a pistol, and again, this is going to be something that's going to help low rank people, not really higher rank, because Blitz is very easy to counter now. So it's going to help low rank people, and low rank people cannot aim with a pistol. So yeah, it's going to go D tier. I just think bad. He just really is bad. There's not much to say there. He's actually going to go below Amaru for me. All right, next we have Brava. I think Brava is an A tier character. Her guns are kind of shit, but she has super shorty. Claymores are helpful as well. And her drones are good. That's why I'm putting her A tier, because she can hack different things that may be useful, things you never think would be useful. I could see the argument for her being lower, but not really higher. Because in my opinion, it's a loud ass drone you can shoot pretty easily. And as well, if you see something get hacked, or a lot of people can notice when something gets hacked, it's pretty easy to break. Now, it's some things that are detrimental to hack, like say honestly, it's not good to waste Brava on cap cans, but if you hack cap cans for like an Aruni gate, there's no longer usable at all for the other team. Now, if you hack something like a Jaeger, yes, it can help the attackers, but at the same time, they can just shoot it, and that's not a big loss. So I'm just gonna put her A tier because she can kind of ruin like strategies and stuff, and she can open up more ways into an objective. All right, next I'm gonna go Buck, who is, I don't know if he goes above or below Ash. This is tough. I'm gonna put Buck right above because Buck, similar with Ash, can play. Actually, no. I think I'm gonna move Buck to A tier because Buck cannot get rid of any utility. He can play above or below, which is great, but that's pretty much all he's got. And typically, if you have people that are like roaming on defense, it's gonna be pretty easy to take care of a Buck unless he has someone with him. So, which is gonna require a lot of them to be downstairs, which is gonna require anyway. Buck can be good. That's why he's A tier, because he can play above and below, and he has flashbangs, but yeah, the only reason I was comparing that, and I forgot Ash has the entire ability to destroy util and yes, stuff like that. So Buck is still really good. It's just I wouldn't put him S tier. Capital, I'm gonna be honest. This is a really tough one for me. I think Capital is gonna go F tier. I know a lot of people are thinking, how Capital's not that bad, but he is, and here's my reasoning. His guns are terrible. I mean, let's just start with that. They gave him a hard breach, which was a very big problem that he didn't have because he was kind of the solo op without a way to get in. But it doesn't help his case because his ability is kind of useless. Smokes, there's so many characters with smokes that are way better, that have better guns, that have better utility. And then the fire, it's like, okay, that's cool, but honestly, the fire's not better than a nomad. It's not better than a gridlock. You know, those are things that are permanent. This lasts, like, what, 10 seconds? So I just feel like he doesn't do anything. He has no, there's no reason to ever pick Capital now. All right, next we have Castle. I honestly think Castle, I'm gonna put him A tier. Now, I reluctantly put him A tier because Capital has a very high skill ceiling. So, you know, if you're lower rank, Capital is gonna be harder, and if you're higher rank, he's gonna be better. But I kind of disagree with that statement. I think a lot of people believe that, but I really don't. For because with Castle, the best thing you can do with the Castle is get weird. And if you're a low rank, you're gonna get weird naturally because you don't know what you're doing. Now the only rank that Castle I believe truly sucks in is like silver, gold slash plat, because those are people that are like looking up strats, trying to take things seriously and stuff. So when they try to play Castle, it's just gonna be something predictable. But obviously the high ranks know how to play them. But the low ranks, they're going to do stuff that's going to surprise you, or they're just going to castle off windows and be stupid. So either one or the other, they're going to do that. But yeah, that's why I kind of want to put him lower, just because he does take some skill to learn. But at the same time, the skill's not that hard, because all you need to realize is Castle creates other sites. He creates new hallways. He basically just creates entire new rooms within the game, and he creates new entry points and stuff like that. So that's kind of all you have to understand is Castle. But at the same time, don't just set up the same castle. Get different with it, get weird with it, because a lot of people, if you like follow castle strategies and people know these castle strategies or you see them in game, you're gonna know how to play against them. But if you put castles in weird spots that actually matter, it's gonna be quite influential on the game, I'll say. So yeah, I think you just kind of have to understand what Castle is. He creates new rooms, he creates new rotates, and I think you just need to get creative with it. So it's not all incredibly that difficult. That's why I'm going to put him A tier. His gun's kind of blow though, but yeah. Next we have Cav. Cav is honestly going to go C tier almost for the same reason as Blackbeard, and I'm going to put her above Blackbeard. And now the reason, it, Cav works a lot more than you think. In high ranks, Cav should not work, but my stack, I'd say on average, is about plat. And at that point, you should not be dying to Cav and getting interrogated. But you know what happens? At least once a day, somebody dies to Cav, somebody gets interrogated. So it shouldn't happen, yes, but it still does. Honestly, I feel like her ability is more used for like anti-tracking, so like people like Jackal and stuff, and I believe she cancels Deimos as well. Two very strong ops. I think that's kind of where her upside comes from, and her guns are okay, but yeah, she's very good in low rank and even mid rank as well. All right, next we have Clash. Clash is tough because there's so many positives yet so many negatives. It's kind of hard to rank her. And I also believe there is a skill ceiling that's decently high with Clash. So I'm gonna put Clash C tier right above Blackbeard. I think some people would have her lower. I doubt anybody would have her higher. But I'm gonna put her C tier just because she can be very good, and she is very annoying. Obviously, she's also easy to counter. I think the best way to play Clash is to play with the team. If you're not playing with the team, then Clash is useless. And if you ever get stuck in a 1v1 with Clash, you're cooked. Unless if you're just either lucky or insane with her gun, you're you're cooked. You get what I'm saying? So she is a very good team pick as much as people hate it, but she's also really easy to kill because she can only have the shield in front of her. She can't fight. Yeah, it's just very complicated. She's very good in a team aspect, but that's about it. All right, next we have Deimos. Deimos, I'm going to put. I'm going to put Deimos into A tier now. I'm not sure where I want. Actually, I'm probably going to put him there. Deimos has good guns. He has probably the best pistol in the game, and his ability is very strong. He also has grenades. He's basically just get rid of the roamers. But there's an issue that comes with Deimos, and that's not only a part of the ability, but it's also kind of harder in high ranks because sometimes people maybe roaming together to get backup, which even then I doubt. But if they do, things like that can mess you up, but they can also see you. And yes, I get it's slightly delayed, but they have an automatic weapon, so they kind of have an advantage as well, especially if they're defender sided, because they can get people to give calls on where you are, and so somebody else can rotate and hunt you down. So I do think he's very strong. I think he's just very, what's the right word? It's almost skillfully lucky. Like you have to be really good at him, but you also have to get lucky too. So yeah, I'm gonna put him A tier. Next we have Doc. I'm gonna put Doc B tier, just for one reason, which is his guns. He has Bailiff and ACOG MP5. I actually think healing is useless in this game. I know a lot of people are gonna disagree. I think healing is horrible. It's a one-shot headshot game, and if you're not aiming for the head, then you're not aiming to win, in my opinion. So yeah, he's only going up here because he has some of the best guns in the game. Also, he has deployable cam, I believe, or maybe barbed wire, maybe both. So he also gives information as well. But I think his ability's trash. Next, we have Dokubai. Dokubai is obviously S tier. She's still one of the most annoying characters in the game. Some people may not like her guns. I love the SMG-12. Bosch is obviously fun, and the marksman she has is pretty good. The calls are just so annoying. They give up so much information. They're anti-roam. They're anti-hiding. They're anti camping, which camping in Siege is not a problem. Obviously, that's a part of the game, but she's anti-everything. You can't sit still unless you have like a mute. So yeah, she's very difficult to deal with, at least in my opinion. Next, we have Echo. I think Echo is going to go somewhere in A tier. I'd probably put Echo right behind Castle. I think Echo is very strong, obviously, and can be very useful, but you also not only have to know what you're doing, because Echo has two main playstyles. You can either A, hide and, just try to bait, defuse, and get rid of that. Jesus, I'm hiccuping, burping, everything. But, or you can roam with them. Now, roaming with Echo is extremely good, but it's also extremely difficult. So, if you're doing that, props to you, because that's hard as hell. And I don't really feel that worth it, just because they're still going to hear you getting off the camera and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I do think that's very difficult. And like I said, it can be very good when it comes down to late situation they're planting and you want to concuss them. And the concuss is good in general, whether they're planting or not. But yeah, I feel like there's better ops you can pick, but it's still very strong because obviously it can deny a plant and it can win around. And there's a lot of characters who cannot win around off their ability, like literally everyone below. So yeah. All right, next we have Ella. Ella's also gonna go B tier. I'm gonna put her right above Doc. I think most people would maybe have her lower. I doubt anyone would have her higher. Her guns are decent, but what makes her really good is the fact she has a deployable shield, which are great, and her Grismonts are very good for information. So she's very good at information, and she has that deployable shield, and her guns are good. So she's pretty solid. Unfortunately, she's not as strong as a roamer anymore. I mean, she is, but she isn't, because obviously you get the information, but at the same time, any roamer could get that information as long as someone plays Ella, whereas before she was a 3-speed, so obviously it helped. But yeah, I think the deployable shield is really carrying her, but yeah, I'm gonna put her above Doc. Next we have Finka. I think Finka's F tier. I think she's trash, honestly. People may disagree. I don't really care. Like I said, it's a one-shot headshot game, and there are obviously circumstances where you do get hit and don't die, and a little bit of healing helps. But I honestly think that aim control, like recoil control thing she has in the ability, I think it's bad. I think it hurts more than it helps because it messes up your aim. It's not what you're used to. So, my opinion, she's not very useful. Yes, I know she can pick herself up while down or pick up down people, but how often do you get downed on attack and not finish? It is very rare. Very rare. So, yeah, I mean, she has grenades, I believe, so that's okay. Her guns are also shit. So, yeah, she's going to go F tier. All right, next we have Flores, who is going to go A tier, in my opinion. And the reason why is he's kind of a mixture of Buck and Ash, but he's a lot slower and a lot easier to counter. So basically, he has Claymore similar to Ash, so he can protect himself while droning. He has really good guns, similar to both Buck and Ash. He can play above or below because he can make holes with his drones. Not recommended, but he can. So you can play above or below, obviously depending on the site, because it's not always easy to get the drone on the roof, but it's possible. And he can clear a lot of util, which is his main use is to clear util. The problem is they're so loud, they're so clunky, they're so big, they are pretty easy to shoot. However, they are very valuable. You can destroy so much with these, especially if people like to play trap ops, or especially if people have if you're not going against a well-coordinated team, I should say, because sometimes people place a lot of stuff next to one area when they don't really need it, and you can destroy all of it. You can even destroy mutes with it, I believe. You have to get it pretty good. You can also flush people out with it. You can send the drone off and not be on drone, so you can flush people out and get the kill. So he is very useful, very hard skill gap, but Yeah, I believe he's A tier. The reason I wouldn't put him S tier is, like I said, the drones are very loud, clanky, very easy to shoot. So, yeah, it makes it kind of difficult to get what you want to get done, especially if you're going against a decent team. All right, next we have Frost. Frost is also going to go B tier, but I'm going to put it below Doc. Her guns are all right. She has a secondary shotgun, which is great for rotates, and she also has a deployable shield, which really helps her a lot. Her ability is pretty shit, though, especially you can free yourself now, which I know you have to hobble everywhere after that, but still. Most people, I'd say silver and up, know to kind of shoot at frost vents, especially if it gets ping, but most people, if you're silver and up, like instinctively look down and shoot when you jump through a window. Maybe not shoot, but you look down and then you're prepared to shoot, so her ability's kind of bad. It's just the deployable shield and the secondary shotgun is incredibly good. So that's why I'll put her B tier. Her main gun's not all that great, though. All right, next we have Fuse, who I'm going to put D tier. Fuse is good at some stuff, but he's not the best at anything. So his stuff could go through hard walls now, which is great. But Fuse is not really good at killing people. It's easy to dodge. It's easy to shoot. As well as it's obviously countered by mute. And not only that, but you're kind of exposed when you're doing this. And unless if you're in a really safe spot, like outside or something like that, which then again, most people are not sitting next to the outside wall. It is good at stopping bandit tricking, though. So, like, if you throw, but that takes a lot of people to get rid of a bandit, which I don't know if you need because that would require Thatcher, Fuse, and a hard breach, obviously. So it's going to be a little bit, it's a little much. He's basically just decent at stuff, but not the best at anything. As well, he is good at getting rid of utility, which is probably his strong suit, in my opinion, is if you know there's again, like an uncoordinated team or a cluster of things, you can go above or next to the wall it's at and just fuse it and destroy all of that stuff. That's probably his main use, if I had to be honest. He can also play vertical, so yeah. I'm not a big fan of his guns either. I know people like the AK. I don't like the AK at all, but yeah, I'm going to put him D tier. Next, we have Glaz, who Um, Glaz is tough. I'm gonna put Glaz F tier, just being honest. I get why people may have him higher, but at the same time, I just don't find him all that useful. Yeah, he could see through smoke, sure. And his gun is a two-shot down, but it's not a very good gun at all. So makes it difficult to find a reason to run it. Obviously, he's a sniper. You want to play long range, but at the same time, you don't want to sit and spawn or sit outside of the map for too long. He's useful on coastline, but he's not very useful on other stuff. Obviously, if you're going for a plant rush, he's decent, but against a good team, a plant rush just isn't going to work. So, yeah, he's not really good at anything. That's why he's going F tier. All right, next we have Goyo. Goyo is just so ridiculously strong right now. I don't understand it. I don't know what they were thinking, but he's going to go F tier. I am going to put him just above Rooney. Now, I know he said he's broken, but I'm not putting him higher. Obviously, his ability just allows you to not cancel, but basically block places off for, what is it, 20, 30 seconds, something like that. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but the reason why he's broken, I believe he has impacts and a C4. He might not have impacts. I don't know. I haven't played him since I haven't played him in a very long time, so I don't know, but I know he used to have C4. I believe he still does have C4. But the biggest thing is he has one of the best SMGs in the game, and they gave it ACOG. Why? I don't know. That's ridiculous. He did not need that. That was one of the best guns in the game. Like, he was already useful, and then they gave him ACOG. Like, why? I get his pick rate's probably not high, but it didn't need to be. He's good. If you're good with him and you know how to use him, you didn't need the ACOG. So, in my opinion, I don't know how he hasn't been nerfed yet, but yeah. All right, next we have Gridlock or Thicklock, whatever you want to call her. Again, she's gonna go D tier. She's gonna go right above Fuse, and the reason why is pretty simple. She's just one of the worst at her job. Now, she's not as bad as Capital. She's pretty much another Capital, but better. Her guns kind of suck, if you want to be honest. She has a secondary super shorty, which is cool, but she's loud as shit. She might be the loudest character in the game, well, other than like the shields, but she is loud as fuck. And Her ability is just a way worse Nomad. Yeah, it's slightly better than Capital's, I guess, but it's not all that great. So she's gonna go D tier. All right, next we have Grim. Grim is so hard to rank. He really is, because he has like a lot of upsides, but also a lot of down. Honestly, Grim, I think, is going to go top of B tier. Because I don't think the Bs are all too crazy. Yes, I know you can play Vert with them, both above and below. And yes, I know you could shoot them to get information. But they're kind of easy to escape or shoot before they deploy. So, yeah, obviously for a lower skill player, it's going to be difficult. His guns, I think, are solid. I believe he has a Bailiff as a secondary, so he can create rotates on offense. And I do really enjoy his primary weapon, which a lot of people may not, but I do enjoy his weapons. Both of them, the shotgun as well as the scoop, is great. So yeah, I just feel like there's people that are better at what he does, like tracking and stuff like that, or playing above or below. And there's definitely people that have better weapons than him. But he's still a solid pick. He definitely has his use. But yeah, he's again very simple. I think he's solid. Next we have Abana. She's gonna go S tier as well because she's a hard breacher. Um, hard breachers are again always very valuable, but Habana's probably the worst out of the main three. We'll talk about Maverick later because Maverick's a whole different story. But she's probably the worst out of the main three just because she's really only useful for hatches. Don't really find her useful in many other situations other than hatches, but hatches are an important part of most maps, so yeah, she is very valuable. All right, next we have Ayana. Um, this hurts me to do, but Ayana's gonna go D tier and pretty low down. Now, in my opinion, her ability is practically useless. It's just a giant, loud ass drone that everybody knows is coming. Sure, you can do a fake with it, but come on, if you're not, bronze or below, you're not falling for it. So her clone's kind of pointless. Yes, it's a rechargeable drone, but if you have any sort of droning skills, you shouldn't need it. So I feel like it's pointless. The only thing that's not putting her in F tier is her guns are good. That's it. She has good guns. That's all. Next we have IQ. In my opinion, IQ is going to go C tier. Probably top of C tier. She has her uses, and her guns are good. But overall, you don't need her ability for the most part. You rarely need it. The best thing to do with IQ is probably to find a vigil. If they have a vigil, that's practically it. Or if your team really cannot find, like objects and stuff like that. And obviously, she's pretty decent low rank because people don't check for cap cans and all that and where the cades are and stuff. But if you play the game for a little bit, you know how to drone, you know how to find these things, so you don't really need to play her. But she has decent guns and she has her uses. Like I said, she's great against Vigil and other characters who have their electronics on them. All right, next we have Jackal. I mean, there's just no shot Jackal's never not going to be S tier until they change him. Honestly, don't know why they don't. Uh, I'd say Jackal's a little more valuable than Azami now. Thing with Jackal is it's kind of a Deimos, but they don't see where you're at. Now obviously you don't get the seamless tracking. It pings like 3 times, depending on how far away they are, stuff like that. But the also thing about Jackal that makes him great is he has some of the best guns in the game. He has a secondary shotgun, I believe, unless they removed it. He has arguably the best SMG in the game and it has 50 bullets in it. He has a fantastic AR. I mean, he has claymores as well, so he can stop people from flanking him while he's going to go hunt down roamers. He is very good, and he's always been very good. And he's always very highly banned, especially in low ranks. I think higher ranks don't ban him quite as much anymore because people kind of know how to play against him now. Like, again, he's still very solid, but yeah, he's still one of the most banned characters and always will be until he gets changed. Honestly, don't know how he was ever added. But yeah, he's still broken. All right, next we have Jaeger, who is going to be S tier. I'd probably put him right behind Goyo. Now, honestly, before I talk about that, it's kind of crazy how many people are S tier, right? Like, there's a lot of really good characters to pick, and yet you still see people pick Glaz, Finka, and Capital. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Anyway, back to Jaeger. His guns are solid. They made the recoil a lot harder to control. Actually, no. His one gun is solid. His pistol shit and his shotgun shit. But his AR is good to control. It's just they did make it a lot more difficult. Obviously, he's very good at getting rid of attacker util. The problem is it's on cooldown and stuff like that. And you also have to know how to place them because they're very easy to shoot and break. Especially with something like a Twitch. Just takes 1 second and they're gone. Or literally anyone else like Flores. So he is strong and he's very useful. Literally every single site. The problem is you kind of have to know what you're doing, not only gun skill wise, but you have to know what you're doing with his ADSs, or they can be easily destroyed, or you may not get much benefit from them. Oops, didn't mean to move that. All right, next you have Cade. Cade, I'm just going to put right behind Bandit. Again, both of these characters, similar to Hard Breaches, are always important because there's always a wall that needs to be reinforced and needs to stay up, right? So Cade, I prefer on some sites, but Bandit I prefer more overall just because his gun's better. They both have C4. Cade does have decent guns. He has the ability to make rotates as well. He also has a long-range gun, being a sniper pistol, but it's not all that great unless you can hit one-taps like that. So yeah, they're interchangeable. And it's honestly personal opinion if you'd rather have the hard breachers over the anti or not. Because at the same time, you're not like a hard breach. I don't know. A hard breach just requires other people and anti doesn't. That's why I have anti over. But I could totally see the argument for putting hard breach over. But yeah, that's how it's going to be for now. Next we have Callie, and as the best Callie player ever on console. Now, I've unfortunately had to relinquish the title because I haven't played console in 3 years. But as the former best Callie player on console and a pretty damn good Callie player on PC, I gotta admit, she's not that great. She's really not. Honestly, it might be biased, but I am just gonna put her D tier. Sorry, you have to see that. I am just gonna put her D tier because she's not really good at anything. I'm gonna put her just above Iana because her ability does have more use, but she's pretty much only picked if Thatcher's banned. Now, I do think it's important to get good at Callie because Thatcher's banned quite often. So if you're good at Callie, then you don't even need to worry about Thatcher. Thatcher's obviously 1,000 times the better pick. So I could sort of get the argument for Callie being higher if you want to say, oh, well, Thatcher gets banned a lot, so she is useful. But yeah, it's hard to base it off bans. If you're basing it off bans, then how can Jackal even be ranked? You get what I'm saying? So yeah, pretty much she's basically just a worse Thatcher. I like her sniper a lot. Her secondaries are okay, but her sniper's really great. The problem is half the time it doesn't one shot or half the time it doesn't down. And she has claymores, which is good, but overall she's not a great operator, which hurts me to say. All right, now we've got Legion. Legion is a very tough ranking for me because I'm not the biggest fan of Legion. I don't think Legion's all that great, but I'm trying to be unbiased just because I just unbiased. I'm gonna put Legion top of B tier. I think a lot of people probably have him A tier because I believe he still has a secondary shotgun. I know he has impacts. His pistol, I mean, who really cares about the secondary? But it's not good. His primary weapon, however, is great. Not the shotgun, just the SMG is great. But his ability I find useless. Yes, it gives intel because it's very easy to see, so they can shoot it or they hit it and you get the information. But I just feel like there's a lot better ways you could get information because it's a one-time use. Imagine like you have it on a staircase. I run up, shoot it. Oh, he's on staircase, but then I leave. That's all the information you get, and then you're waiting there, nothing comes up. Something else grabs your attention, and then I can just run back up the stairs later. So I think he's good, but I just think there's way better options for intel. All right, next we have Lion. But just be honest, Lion's F tier as well. I just don't see an argument for having Lion anywhere else. Sure, he has grenades. Sure, his AR is decent. It's not even great. It's decent. He has the Scoob, which is nice. But yeah, and his ability's shit. It's not really useful anywhere. Like, yeah, maybe it is in lower ranks if you catch people basically sitting in a corner, like camping or something, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna swing them, but I don't want them to swing me because it is swing or be swung. Then yeah, you can use it. But if you've been playing the game for a decent bit, you're just gonna move anyway. So who cares? Most people just move through the lion scans no matter what, and it doesn't help you. Like lion is not a help at all. He's gonna go F tier. But I do have him slightly above because he's at least useful a little bit in any rank, whereas the other three I just don't find. Actually, Finka is useful in low ranks because people do not really go for headshots that much, but I just have a hate for Finka, so she's going to stay there. All right, next we have Maestro. Maestro's very difficult. I feel like he gets changed every single season. They just like cannot get him right. But I'm going to put him B tier just behind Legion because he's kind of informational. Yes, his cameras are pretty easy to destroy. Now there are some spots where you can put a Maestro where they're difficult to destroy, yes, but it still takes a very good Maestro to learn how to use them. His cameras used to be simple, but now you got to be able to open it, shoot for like 1 or 2 seconds, flick to the other one, shoot, flick, 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 constantly just going back and forth, back and forth. But what's good about him, he has great guns. I really like his LMG, and he has a Bailiff as well, or the Keratos, I believe. And he also gets impact, so he can create rotates and kind of set up sight. It's a very large skill gap for his camera, and they aren't really necessary because they take you out the fight. Whereas you could have someone like Valk, which we'll get to later, where you have cameras and you can be in the fight. So yeah, that's why I have him B tier. All right, next we have Maverick. I know I said I was going to talk about Maverick later, and the reason why is because he's the only hard breacher, and he honestly shouldn't even count as a hard breacher anymore. Who is bad. Honestly, Maverick used to have a great use. Maverick tricking was a great thing, but in my opinion, Maverick is the most useless character in the game so far that we've gone over, and a lot of people are going to disagree. I am very sure of that. And a lot of people like Maverick, and I get that too. But just think about it. His guns are decent, sure. But if you just want to go for fragging, way better options. And he doesn't have like anything crazy like on gadget wise. It's not like he has an offensive C4, which I know makes no sense, but he doesn't have anything useful. I'm not 100% sure if he has grenades. If he does, sure, that's a 1-up for him. But again, better people with grenades. And sure, he has the hard breach ability. He has the ability to Maverick trick and get entire walls. He also has the ability to get hatches, and solo, I should add at that. But it's so easy to counter now. Like it's just so bad. Because yes, you can be the best Maverick in the world and not get shot at all through the holes. It takes 1 C4, bro. You're dead. Like you can't do anything. Like it's so easy to stop a Maverick trick. I don't get stuff behind it. It's so easy to stop a Maverick trick these days. Obviously, there's runouts. You can just shoot them through the hole, which majority of the time, it is very hard to conceal yourself. Now, a perfect Maverick, what's it called? Perfect Maverick tricker would be able to get the wall without being hit. I don't find him very useful for hatches at all because Habana, for the most part, can get those solo. It's very rare Cade is going to electro a hatch unless it's very important. And then again, you just have a teammate run something important like Twitch. And I get it's not solo, but at the same time, Maverick not only takes forever, he gives away the location. So if you are taking forever, especially for something like a hatch, that takes probably longer than the wall, you're going to get caught by the roamer and killed. So Maverick's just terrible. I just don't really think there's a use for him. I'm just being honest. All right, next we have Melusi. This is another character I play a lot, and another character I'm torn on. But I think I am going to put Melusi bottom A tier. I was debating on putting her top B tier, but I think she's slightly above tier in terms of the ones in B tier. The reason why, she has a fantastic gun. Sure, doesn't have ACOG. Her pistol's pretty good as well. She has impact, so she can create rotates. So overall, her kit is very powerful. Then you get into her ability. She has 4 of them now. Yes, you can shoot them now, so they're easy. But I think she's a lot more useful than Legion because you can put them in spots to where, in order to break them, they have to turn their back to you, right? And that is so valuable. If you are playing around your Melusis, or you put them around where your teammate plays, and they hear them and have the reaction time to peek, that is a free kill. it is a free kill. Whereas Legion, you can't say the same because you don't have to take it. I mean, to be fair with Melusi, you don't have to take it out right away, but most people are not going to expect the swing right away. So I just overall think she is more useful. Now that's also biased because like I do play her, but I think her gun's better. She has the ability to rotate, but again, if you want to switch her and Legion, I get it. But in my opinion, I find her a little more valuable. All right, next we have Mira. Mira's obviously an S tier character, but I'm gonna put her just right above Jackal. She's not quite as strong as Dokubai or the Hard Breachers or Antis. And I saw a TikTok about it where people were arguing, and people do think Mira is more valuable than them. In what world? In what world? Now, I love the fun Mira strats because they're great. They're amazing. Like, Mira's so fun to play, but she's also very strong. But Mira can get countered by Ashe. She can also get countered by the Hard Breaches. She can also be exposed if she doesn't have an anti. So she kind of relies on the team a little bit. Now, there are some cases like on Clubhouse, my Mira strategies that I like to do are very good and very good solo. I don't need to worry about hard breach because if they hard breach, I can just move on. I can just move on to my other Mira. I'm not going to explain the whole setup or anything right now, but if you want to see my site setups, let me know. I got y'all. But anyway, I don't really. She kind of needs a team to play around for the most part. Now she obviously is still very strong, very great information wise. And yeah, has very good guns. Also has a secondary shotgun to create rotates. Again, I know she got nerfed, but it wasn't big enough. They need to remove that shotgun, if I'm being honest with you. She also has a C4. So, incredibly strong character, but I'm not going to have her above the hard breachers or anti because they're useful everywhere. And in my opinion, Mira's not. There are some sites where Mira's not as useful as other people, whereas if you pick Bandit in a game, no one's ever going to look at you different. But sometimes if you pick Mira, some people are going to look a little weird at you just because some sites she's not the best on. But she's obviously still amazing, which is why she's S tier and at the high end of S tier. Next we have Monty. This is probably the only shield that's not going to be completely dog shit. And I'm probably going to put Monty like middle of B tier right there because Monty is the only shield remaining that really is a protector because he can go full shield. Are there ways to counter it? Sure. He's not much of an offensive threat, but him paired with anyone else on your team, great roam clear, great for stopping plants, great for blocking C4s and things like that. So, yes, he's pretty much the only shield op you want to play, in my opinion. All right, next we have Mozzie. Mozzie is probably a C tier op, if you ask me. The reason why I think his guns are mid, he has a C4, which is great, and his ability is decent. It's just kind of difficult to capture drones, especially the higher and higher you get. Now, in Copper, it's going to be easy to capture drones. You literally just shoot it on a door or hell anywhere, and a drone will probably run into it. But the higher and higher you go, the harder it is to get drones. And not going to lie, unless if you just go pre-place the drones, most people are going to tell what's a Mozzie drone and what their teammate drone is. So, now, I know I'm talking bad, like he should be lower, but if you do get a drone, you can make use out of them even without just making it a stationary camera. You just have to be very smart with the way you play him. So, yeah, that's why he's going to go C tier, because he takes a decent amount of skill and not for a lot of gain. Yes, he's information, but there's better options. All right, next we have Mute. Mute, honestly, I think Mute's going to go S tier, but I think he's going to go at the bottom. I think people may have him higher, some may have him lower. But in my opinion, with how strong drones are in Siege, and especially the drone ops, how strong they are, having a good Mute could really help a lot. Now, good players can oftentimes get around a Mute, but if you're an even better Mute, then they're not going to, right? So Mute can be very useful on every site. You just have to know how to play them, where the optimal spots are, so it can't get shot by a Twitch or like blown up by a Flores, for example. So yeah, he is pretty solid though. Also, he has shotgun SMG 11, great combo. So yeah. All right, next we have Knock, the worst character in the game. I don't think there's any convincing me. Actually, there might be one. One I might have lower, but Nock is a bottom 3 character in the game, and Nock is a very popular character to play. And so I will go back to what I was talking about earlier, and you will have people pick Nock over this entire selection of S tier, A tier, or hell, even B tier, or the whole list even is better than the ones in F tier, right? You have people who will go out and pick Nock, and I'm saying this with a lot of what's the word? Not anger, but you get what I'm saying. I'm saying it with a lot of emotion because there's someone in my stack who does this. Yeah, Connor, I'm talking about you. If you're watching this, you pick Nock a lot, and it's not even Nock hate. It's all of these hate. If you pick any of these, you're kind of throwing because sure, I get it. You may like the gun, you may like the ability, but guess what? There's better guns. There's better abilities, and I know you're better with them because, like I said, we have a friend in the stack, and I know he's better at other characters than Nock, but he still picks Nock for some reason. It's just an absolute throw of a pick every single time. Nock is useless. Nothing good about her. But anyway, now that I'm done with my rant, let's go into Nomad. Nomad is going to be S tier. And she's just the best anti-rotate. But where would I put her? I'd probably put her... Her and Goyo, I feel, are interchangeable, but I'll put her right behind because Goyo's pretty broken right now. But Goyo's pretty much the offensive version of Nomad, if you want me to be honest. But Nomad is just great. She's very good information, very good at killing people, very good at blocking off entire walkways, very good at wasting time so you can plant, has very good guns, and that's very simple. Also has breach charges too, so it's nothing bad about Nomad. So if you argue to put her higher, sure, but then again, she has a limited amount of uses. There are a lot of uses, but she can't do everything. But she is very strong, so she's S tier. All right, next we have Oryx. Oryx is probably the most changing operator without them actually changing him, just because of how much they change shields. Oryx is D tier though. He's not very good. I'd probably put him right above Amaru. Obviously, if they have a shield, he can be useful. He's still counterable with the shield anyway, so it's not like he's the absolute counter to shields, but he can be useful against shields. He can be useful at creating rotates. He can be useful at roaming, right? And he has a good gun. But the good gun and rotates and all that, and roaming, you can get that out of other people that are way better than him. His thing that makes him unique is being able to take out shields, but then again, there's only one good shield left. Now, I know some people do play Blackbeard and do play Blitz, but not a lot, so he's not really worth picking. And those are easy to counter without him. Next, we have Osa. I think Osa's going to go C tier. Probably put her right above IQ. And the reason why is she's similar to the other ones in C tier. The lower you are, the better she is, but she can have some use in higher ranks as well. There are some sites where having that shield walking in front of you is great, and then you can set it down and just use it to peek at people. Now, again, most good players are going to know how to counter it, and you can hit her while she has the shield out, so you have to be very cautious. But the reason why she's not going somewhere like D tier, she has Jackal's SMG, which is probably the best SMG in the game. Does so much damage, has like 50 bullets. So her AR is great too. And she has Claymores as well, so she can stop the flank, which is one of her biggest weaknesses. So, yeah, she's just decent. Like I said, she's just pretty easy to counter, which is why she's going to go C tier. It sounds great on paper, but then you put it into a match, and you will die a lot more with her than you think. All right, next we have Pulse. Pulse is a tough one. And I will say the thing about him and Castle, I didn't really talk about their guns much. I know I said they were like mid, I think, with Castle, but I like the UMP. It's, statistically not a great gun, sure, but I like it. And Pulse, Pulse is going to go A tier, I think, just above Malusi. I was debating on putting him A tier or B tier, but he's a great roamer, but pretty much only for like if you're below the site, because he's pretty much anti-plant and he's anti anything above him. Can you play him above? Sure, but he's not that great. He's a lot harder to use, and like his guns are and he doesn't get the rotate like Castle does, but he does get a C4. He's really just anti-plant. And he's a solid roamer you can pick. He's really good on some sites, and then he's okay on other ones. But overall, he's very, very solid. So he's gonna go A tier. All right, next we have Ram, who, in my opinion, is going to go right behind Ash. Which, by the way, again, look at how many people are in S tier. So if you're struggling to pick someone, just pick one of these or the ones in A tier. And again, if you disagree they're not in S tier or A tier, you know they're still good. So pick one of these over Knock. And anyway, sorry, not to get back on that, but you get what I'm saying. Stop picking Knock. Anyway, we have Ram, who is very good at playing above. Has one of the best weapons in the game with ACOG, obviously. I believe she has claymores. I don't know what else she has. I don't think she has grenades. No. Um, yeah, she's very good at playing above. She's a great distraction. She makes a ton of noise. Oh, she has smokes as well, I believe. And smokes are useful. So there you go. She just doesn't have the. She can break gadgets as well, but not quite as efficiently as Ash, and she cannot play below, which is why I'm going to put her slightly below Ash. And now I understand people might be asking, well, then why is Buck in A tier if he can do both and she can't? Because Buck just kind of does the same thing as Ash. Can he do it a little bit more than Ash playing below? Sure. But Ram can play below as well. You just have to throw one into sight through a window or something, then get downstairs. So it is possible to play with Ram, I guess. But Ash, in my opinion, is just a way better pick than Buck. So that's why Buck's gonna go A tier, and Ram is kind of like them, but not really. She's kind of her own thing. All right, next we have Rook, which it's it's a Copper's favorite pick, is what I will say. But he's gonna go D tier, right above Callie. And now I'll give you a reason why, because people are gonna be like, "Oh, same thing. It's Finka. If you say it's a headshot game, then the armor doesn't matter." Yeah, you're right. I don't give a shit about the armor. His guns are great, and he has impacts. Okay, that's all I care about. He has a good weapon set, unlike Finka. That's why he's going D tier. So yeah, and his weapons are better than Ion's, obviously, because it's way more important to have rotates than it is to have a good AR. So yes, that has nothing to do with his ability. I think his ability's shit. So yeah, he's going D tier. All right, next we have Sens. This is tough. There's not a lot of good about Sens. This is probably the toughest one I've had to rank so far. Where would Sens go? I'd put Sens there in D tier. I was thinking about putting her C tier, but then I was thinking, like, would I rather a Fuse or Sens? And I was thinking Fuse, and then I went with to Oryx, and I was like, no, I'd rather have a Sens. Sens' guns are just terrible. Her ability can be countered by a whole lot, but Sens is an unexpected pick because nobody plays Sens. And she has some uses, obviously blocking off lines of sight. Is probably only it. That's probably all you get with her. You can make rotates through it by blocking off lines of sight, but that's about it. But her guns are bad. Her ability's just okay. Next we have Sledge, former shotgun SMG-11 Demon, but he doesn't have the SMG-11 anymore. He also does not have grenades anymore, I don't believe. But Sledge is still an A tier character, probably just above Pulse. Similar to Pulse, he can be useful everywhere. He's better on some sites than others, but he can create giant holes on attack. He can break hatches. He can play vertical. He can only above though. He cannot play below. He might have his grenades back. I don't know for sure, but yeah, they got rid of his SMG-11. He has good guns out of his primaries. Like he has the L8, which is good. But the shotgun's also good too. It just sucks you can't run shotgun SMG-11. So, yeah, he's decent. There's just better picks, honestly. That's it. Our next we have Smoke. Smoke is still S tier even without the deployable shield. It is a big hit to him, but it definitely still hurts. I'm gonna put him right behind Jaeger because again, no deployable shield does hurt him. Yo, what's up, Ella? How's it going? But yeah, I'm doing good. How about you? Yeah, I think I'm gonna put Smoke there in S tier just because he doesn't have a deployable shield anymore. Yes, he still has shotgun, SMG-11. Yes, he can waste about a minute of time, which is great. So yeah. All right, next we have Solus, and for me, I missed the old Solus because I play a lot of Solus. Is one of my favorite characters to play, but she did get nerfed decently. It's not a massive nerf, but she did get nerfed. You know, I don't care that she got nerfed. I think she's still S tier. Now, am I going to have her super high S tier? No, but she can see all gadgets going on. She can go stop a hard breach. She can go stop people droning outside. She can see if people are above or below. So she can play vertical on all sorts as a roamer. She's good in sight because you can help with bandit tricking, also getting rid of drones so people don't know where you are. And she has shotgun, the best shotgun in the game. Don't care what anyone says. She is the best shotgun in the game. And SMG-11 combo as well with deployable cam as well. Honestly, I just convinced myself to put her higher. So I'm going to put her... I'm gonna put her above Azami, and I get it. That's a biased pick, but I really feel like there's no flaws in picking Solus. And also, she's great to help the team reinforce because she has nothing to do in the prep phase. Yo, Ella, thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. But all right, I'm going to move on with my list. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, next we have Tachanka. Tachanka as well as a copper demon. He's got the LMG, you know, good at making rotates and stuff. He also has the best SMG in the game. So, you know, either or, if you don't like making rotates and helping the team, sure. I believe he has a deployable shield as well. And his fire is pretty decent at stopping people. But overall, he's probably going to go C tier, probably just above Osa. Again, good at rotates, but not really a great gun. And then you run his SMG, and it's like, well, now you can't create rotates, but you get a deployable shield. So, and the fire's okay, but there's way better, like Goyo, obviously, or like a Rooney or Smoke. They just are a lot more useful when it comes to the team, I believe. Hold up, sorry, I'm getting notifications. Left, right, and center off my phone. If you've ever come to my stream before, you know, well, as soon as I press start streaming, I get like 50 people start texting me. So, yeah. All right, next we have Thatcher. Thatcher's obviously going to be S tier. I'd probably put him right behind Dokkaebi because he can cancel everything. He can cancel your reticle. He can cancel the antis. He can cancel mutes. Anything electronic, he can cancel. So, yeah, he's going to be S tier. The only thing is they nerfed him, so he's not as great, but he still is really good, and he has a good weapon. So, yeah, not really downsides to picking Thatcher. Useful on almost every site, if not all sites. All right, next we have Thermite, who's also going to go S tier. In my opinion, the best hard breacher. I think Thermite is the best because he makes the biggest hole. I know it's going to sound stupid because, like, oh, you could use Ace from range. But if you think about it, Ace is a lot less useful than Thermite is because Thermite making a bigger hole is a lot more valuable than the holes you get with Ace, and he can make two of them. And then you look at hatches, like, okay, Habana is better for hatches. But the reason I put Ace above Habana is because Ace can, I mean, they can all do it all, but Ace definitely has a better gun. Actually, I don't know. Habana and Ace you could interchange, but I think Thermite's the best because getting a wall is very important, and he's typically the best at that just because he does so much with it. All right, next we have Thorn. Um, Thorn is pretty easily going to go D tier for me. Guns are bad. It has a deployable shield, which is great. The traps are also pretty bad. They're pretty easy to shoot and dodge. So even if you can't shoot them, you can just run away from them. So now there are certain Thorn setups you can run where people are going to run. It's more like a mind game, but it's hard to rely on that, especially because they can't just shoot them. God, I love doing these tier lists, but they make my throat dry because I yap so much. All right, next we have Thunderbird. Thunderbird's going to be F tier. She's worse than Finka and Capital. Again, it's just stupid healing stations that are unnecessary, trash guns, and almost no ability to help the team at all. Going F tier. Just terrible, terrible character. Next we have Turb. I know there's the Cade Tube going on right now. Why do people call him Tube? Is his name not Turborow or is it Tuber? I don't care. I'm calling him Turb. I always called him Turb. I'm going to keep doing it. The Turb It's gonna go S tier. Obviously, he's a part of a great strat. He wastes a lot of time, has a good gun, and has a C4. So I'd probably put him just above Goyo. He's just very simple. There's not much you can go wrong with, but then it's also hard to have the impact with him like you can with the like Azami, Jackal, Mirror, blah blah blah, so and so, the ones above. But still, very great. Okay. Sorry, I was just looking at something. Anyway, we have Twitch here. Twitch is probably S tier as much as I'm very reluctant, but it's hard to find things wrong with Twitch. I'm not going to put her high just because she's basically based off the drones. All I have to do is shoot the drones or run a mute. But Twitch can take out so much utility, just very, very useful. And those are extra drones she has. Her gun is hard to control, but it's very good if you can control it. So, yeah. All right, next we have Valk. Valk is also going to go S tier. In my opinion, the best intel operator on defense, at least. So I'm going to put her. This is so tough. Intel's by far the most important thing in Siege, so I know you're thinking I probably should put her way higher, but I'm just trying to go through who I think she's better than. Okay, I'd probably put her right behind Mira. Mira, I think you could get a lot more value at lesser of a skill level, where Valkyrie you have to be a lot better. Valk's gun is easier for sure, but her camera placement's harder, which is a C4 and a Deagle as well, which again can create head holes, so she's super valuable. The best intel op in my opinion. The only thing that sucks, you can't throw cams outside anymore. At least not everywhere. There are some spots. But anyway, now we have Vigil. I used to be a Vigil hater, but he has his uses. But this is a hard one to rank because I feel like Vigil just comes down to almost gun skill. Yes, he can avoid being tracked by certain things like Lion or Deimos or things like that. And he has good guns. He can create rotates and he cannot be tracked by drones. He's a very good roamer. So for that, I think he'll go A tier. I think he's better than Pulse. I think he's better than Sledge, better than Brava. I think he's better than Deimos. That's probably where I stop. You could maybe switch him with Echo, but yeah, he's just a really great roamer. That's simple. That's all he is. Not the best with intel. Doesn't help out the team too much other than getting picks, but yeah, he's pretty good at that. So can't complain about free picks. All right, next we have Wamai. Why I'm actually going to put below Thorn. He doesn't really bring anything to the table other than impacts. His guns are bad. His ability is just a way, way, way worse Jaeger. Hell, even a Rooney can probably do his job better than him most of the time. I feel like Wamais are very useless, especially against things like flashes. What does that really do? Or smokes like that doesn't really help. So, yeah, I think he's pretty bad. Not really much else to say. He can have some uses, but yeah, that's pretty much all I'm gonna put him at. Now we have Warden, one of the most polarizing characters in all of Siege. There's the 1.5 crutches, and this is gonna sound so bad. And I know I said I was an Ash main, but I am also a Warden main too, a little bit. He's not my most played, but I play him a lot as of like now and recently. I actually did not play him that much when he had 1.5, and even when I know I started really playing him when he had 1.5, but I didn't even use it. I used Hollow on him, so can't call me 1.5 made. But anyway, he's an op. He is an op. I am biased because I do play him a lot. He's probably my third most played defender, and I'm not 1.5 made. 1.5 made, Jesus. But I can't put him all too high. I'd probably put him just above IQ. Some people may have him lower. I doubt anyone has him higher, because who's higher on Warden than me? But he has a great gun. Both of his guns are great, actually. He has a deployable shield, which is great, or C4, both great. And he can see through smokes and senses and stuff like that, so he's anti-plant pretty much. But Very situational op. So I'm putting him in C, but he does have that deployable shield and good guns, so you can bring him at any time. He's also good against Ying and flashbangs, obviously. So he's situational, but he can be good. And next, speaking of the devil herself, we do have Ying. Ying is a tough one because I think I'm going to overrate her. I think most people are going to disagree with me on Ying, but I'm gonna put Ying. This is so difficult, so difficult. I'm gonna put her S tier, right above Mute, and now people probably gonna say I'm overrating her, but look at it like this: she has 4 of those Candelas, and sure, it's gonna cost 2 or 3 to take over an area, but that's it. She can take over an entire area by herself. She can gain so much map control on her lonely. And she has smokes as well. Very easy to plant. Smoke and blind. She has hard breaches. She can get into sight. The only issue is she can't watch flank, but she can take over an entire area. And if you just are loosely following behind her, your team can take over an entire area, whether that be sight, whether that be next to sight, a staircase, wherever. You can take over entirely with Ying, and her gun is really good. Does a lot of damage. It's 82 bullets and fires pretty fast. So that's why I'm gonna have her S tier. Again, it might be overrating her, but I don't see much wrong with her. Next we have Zero. Used to be widely considered the best solo op. I don't really agree anymore. I'm still gonna put him A tier, probably just above Echo, because he has a great gun. He has the Gone, which is helpful at breaking one piece of important util. He has 4 or 5 cameras, which the cameras are great for sure. But the cameras are very easy to see, very easy to shoot, and they only have one shot themselves. But he is good at getting rid of util, and he's good at being an intel character. So we give him his credit, and he also has hard breaches. But I think there's some better options, and especially with the way droning is now, I don't know if he's all that useful. Especially he's not very useful in a team sense. He's very much as a solo player. So yeah. All right, next we have Zafia. Zafia is not as bad as Nock, but she's one of the worst characters in the game. Another very popular pick. Why do people play Zafia? We have another friend, not the same one that plays Nock, that loves to play Zafia. And I don't get it. She's dog shit. She's not good at anything. You can't tell me one thing she's good at. Oh, well, she has the breaches. You know who else has breaches? Ash. Oh, well, she has the concuss. Well, guess what's better than concuss? A flashbang, buddy, which almost half the characters have. Oh, well, she has an LMG. Well, guess what? The LMG suck. Her AR sucks. Her pistol sucks. Her everything sucks. Breach charges. Oh, other people have. Yeah, she's trash. Okay, and she's a 1-speed. She's loud as shit. She is horrible. She's a terrible character. I just don't understand why anyone would pick Zafia. She has no use. Literally none. So she's going F tier. Next we have Capcan. Capcan, I think, is going to go B tier for me. I see the argument for higher. I see the argument for lower. But in my opinion, he has the best SMG in the game. You can't deny that. I mean, you can try, but you'd be wrong. He has the C4 or Impacts, both great for help. No, I think he has deployable cam now. I don't know if they just added that and removed one. I don't know, but I believe he has deployable cam now. But his traps, yes, a lot of people, especially higher ranked people, do look out for them. But if you put them in weird spots, not a lot of people look. If you don't get scanned, not a lot of people know. It's just the fact of surprise mixed with as well. You can get people to walk into them if you push them into an intense situation where they don't have time to check. Like, say, I hate to say Clash, but Clash and Capcan's a pretty good combo. If you get a Clash to come push someone and they don't notice Capcan's behind them, they're going to run into the door and get shot. Or if they don't and they turn around to look at them, as long as you're following with the Clash, you can kill them. So Capcan can be very useful in surprise effects, but again, takes one bullet, takes one Twitch, takes one Brava, takes one Flores to take out all of them on a door. So yeah. All right, I can't tell the difference. I think this one's Sentry. No, I don't even know the name. Striker. I think this one's Striker, which is the offensive. Let's just assume this one's offense. I believe this one's defense. The offensive one is probably the worst person you could pick in the game. Um, Not very good at literally anything. Bad guns. Sure, you could pick two util of your choosing, but it doesn't help all that much. If you want me to be honest, there's no point to bring him. He has no ability. So yeah, he's trash. Before we get into this last four, like I said, all the yapping, man, it hurts. But let's get it. Now we have Sentry. Sentry is a whole lot better than Striker. Honestly, Sentry is going to be A tier, probably right above 0. I used to be a lot higher on Sentry because look at it this way: Sentry has decent guns, but I don't know which one's the guy or the girl, I don't remember, but they also have deployable shield. And you know what's even better than just having a deployable shield? A deployable shield and a C4. And if I'm not mistaken, Sentry is a secondary shotgun, no? So rotates, C4, and deployable shield. That's all in one. The only problem is it's not a unique ability, so you could play other people. Like if you look into S tier, actually, do any of these defenders have a deployable shield? I don't think they do anymore. Anyway, let's go to A tier, I guess. Look, you could play Echo and have a deployable shield and still have other uses like intel and stopping plant. And somebody's going to pick someone with a C4. They always do. So you don't necessarily need it, but it gives you both. And it also gives you an ability to rotate, if I'm not mistaken, because I believe they have a secondary shotgun. So yeah. All right, next we have Scopos. And Scopos, I think, is... I think Scopos is going to go B tier. Scopos has decent guns. They have the unique ability to change bodies and stuff like that. Also be used as a cam. Problem is they're very loud. They can be affected by like Thatcher. Because I believe if you get hit by a Thatcher, you just get blinded. Like you can't see. And then they also like can't be healed and stuff like that. And I get it. I know. I hate the healing. Healing sucks anyway. So why am I taking that into effect? There's just a lot you can't do with Scopos. That's why they're going down that low. It's not a matter of can. It's a matter of can't with Scopos. All right, next we have Fenrir. I mean, it's obvious Fenrir is still S tier. He can only have 2 activated. One of the best guns, has a shotgun pistol to make rotates. C4? I think he has C4 as well. So, yeah, he's just very, very strong still. Probably put him right behind Jaeger. Not much to him. He doesn't have much weaknesses. All right, next we have Raora, which is the new character. Now, this character is still fairly new, so I can understand if you disagree with me entirely or you have no idea what I'm talking about with this because we haven't seen enough of her. But if you want me to be honest, her guns suck. Yes, the block with a switch is cool, but it sucks, just being honest. So, yeah, if you want me to rank Raora, it would have to be off of ability because her guns aren't that good. And her ability, it's great for intel. It's great for blocking things off. And put her right behind Deimos. She could go higher. She could go lower. Again, fairly new, so it's hard for me to really give my full thoughts on it. Obviously, I've played her. I've played against her. I've played with her for quite a few games, but it hasn't been enough for me to really determine where she goes yet. But yeah, that's gonna do it for my list. Let me know your thoughts below. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna disagree because things with tier lists like this, uh, it's also a little bit of personal preference. Like again, some people are gonna think healing's actually useful. Not gonna argue with that because it's a part of the game. So, if you think healing's useful, some of those characters may be higher and, different sorts. So, a lot of opinionated stuff, but just let me know your thoughts. But again, if you are playing anyone in F tier, I don't care if you think healing's good. Fink and Thunderbird are still shit, even if you think healing's good. They're not going any higher than B tier. Why? Do not play these people in F tier. They have little to no use. Now, could you play Glaz on Coastline? Sure. Could you play Striker? No. Knock? No. Zafia? No. Maverick? No. Thunderbird? Maybe. Capital? Again, maybe. Finka, maybe. Glaz, maybe. Lion, if you're low rank only. Don't play people in F tier. Play anyone else. There's so many characters to pick from S tier and A tier. There's at least 5 defenders and 5 attackers in each. Just pick one. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Again, links in the description, Twitch and YouTube.